Guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be looking at the INT WHIS. This was one of the units that when all the details were released, a lot of people kind of immediately assumed this guy was probably going to be the best. I would probably count myself among them, right? This guy, pre-EZA, was already a support unit, so he was one of the ones that a lot of us had high hopes for, because getting support units that are actually runnable and red zone viable are, of course, very useful for a lot of these teams. So I'm very much looking forward to this guy. We're going to see how well he performs. He raises defense for 1 turn on super attack, so obviously any additional supers would be good. He does lower attack. There are still some events where you can do that. Notably, even difficult events like the Metal Cooler Core, you can lower the attack of the Metal Cooler Army. So this ability is still sometimes useful in these harder events, although it's not many of them, and sometimes it's only the first phase. His passive is attack and defense 120. All allies, key 3, and attack and defense 30%. Then he gives Realm of Gods allies an extra 10% and 10% crit chance. And then he gives Bond of Master and Disciple allies an extra 10% and 10% crit chance. So, obviously if they're on Realm of Gods and Bond of Master and Disciple, he's giving 3 key, 50% attack and defense, and 20% crit chance, which is pretty good for overall support, right? So then he gets an additional attack and defense 60% per Realm of Gods ally, self-excluded, attacking in the same turn. And then he gets chance to dodge 25% per Bond of Master and Disciple ally, self-excluded, attacking in the same turn. So, we're running him on the Realm of Gods team with the Resurrection of F Blues. They actually are on the Bond of Master and Disciple category. So, these guys obviously on both of the categories that are going to be giving him his various abilities. Unfortunately, the first rotation we have this God Goku, who is not on Bond of Master and Disciple. So we have 2 Realm of Gods allies and 1 Bond of Master and Disciple ally. So that means from his passive we are getting an extra 120% attack and defense, and then we're getting the 25% chance to dodge. Seeing as that he is just a support unit, and like, you're going to want him to dodge more often than not. I just gave him only additional and dodge. He has 12 additional, 25 dodge. Him critting is just not important. He's not on the team to do damage, so I don't really care whether he gets crits or not, right? That's why I didn't give him any. So let's go ahead and do this. So the Resurrection of F Blues, I mean, we'll probably just one turn this guy anyway, thanks to God Goku, but the Resurrection of F Blues definitely get a huge buff from this WHIS. Dodge? Of course. Get a huge buff from this WHIS, right? Because they are getting the 50% attack and defense and then the 20% crit chance, which is really good. I think the best build for the Resurrection of F Blues, if I remember rightly, is still additional. So them getting a bunch of extra crit chance from the support is a nice little buff for them as well. So, and obviously, you know, even if you've got characters who aren't on those other categories, you're still getting 30%. Now, being that he is a WHIS, and like the categories that he's on, the teams, the links and everything, you're probably not going to run him without like Realm of Gods allies around anyway. So even at a bare minimum, like on this team, right, with units like the God Goku who aren't on Bond of Master and Disciple, he's still giving them 40% attack and defense and 10% crit chance, as well as 3 key. So definitely very, very good. He definitely seems like he could be usable. Obviously his post super defense is where he's really going to shine, but wow, yeah, don't have the best setup here, but let's go ahead and do this. Grab these. We didn't get the best starting rotations, but we did have LR, Beerus and Whis in slot 7, who I have already showcased. This Whis obviously going to work well with them. The links are not the best, right? I think he only shares, is it 3 links? Let me have a look. I did have it up here. Where's INT WHIS? Yeah, he shares 3 links with LR, Beerus and Whis, which is Godly Power, Connoisseur and Shocking Speed. So at least we do have a key link with them, right? Although I guess that doesn't really matter with Whis providing key. That is going to be big for the LR, Beerus and Whis as well, because we saw in their EZA showcase from yesterday, they get a bunch of key at the start of turn as one of their main sort of useful new abilities from their EZA, and then getting extra key from Whis is going to be very, very good as well. So it's going to be very difficult to miss like the 18 key supers with Beerus and Whis when you're running him with the INT one. So Definitely seems like it could be pretty good. We still have the Int Beerus to showcase as well. I wanted to do the Whis first because then I want to run Whis on that team. And when we get the rotation of LR Beerus and Whis, the Int Beerus, and then Int Whis in slot 3, that's a rotation that I think can be very, very good. Now, just like LR Beerus and Whis, remember that we do not have a 200% lead for these guys yet on Global, which is unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's do this. So our start of turn defense with no other support on the rotation. He has 233k because we have 2 Realm of Gods allies, so he's getting that extra 120%. So he, raises defense by 30% on super, which is is it about 80k? Yeah, about 80k roughly. So he's going up to about 320 if he doesn't get an additional. That defense, honestly, is not crazy. I think his main defensive ability is obviously the fact that with the Bond of Master and Disciple allies, he has the dodge. So on this rotation, where there's only one of those allies, it's 25% from his passive, and then I obviously have 25 dodge, so he's got 25% chance to dodge as like a separate thing. So we did get both of the dodges, so I'll take that. LR Beerus and Whis, obviously their first turn, they haven't been hit yet, so they don't have their buff. Now they're going to get super attacked. Is this going to do much damage? 53k. Obviously they're benefiting from, they are on both of the categories, so they are getting 50% support from this Int Whis. I think in the future, if we get, I always think about like what Carnival LRs would be good in terms of like leader skill, like what categories would be really, really good if they just had a straight up 200% lead. And Realm of Gods is definitely one of them, right? Because of this split between like the Saiyan units and then like Beerus, Whis, other Angels, Supreme Kai of Time, stuff like that, where they don't really share a lot of links on the sort of optimal teams, right? Like if the best possible team for the best possible option, I should say, for a Realm of Gods team would be if they were to bring out a Carnival LR. Let's make sure the skip is on actually. If they bring out a Carnival LR for Realm of Gods, and regardless of whether it was Beerus, Whis, or one of the Saiyans, give that unit support as part of their passive, like key, even if it's just key. And then that team would be so good, right? You could put together a Realm of Gods team with any build that you want, essentially. Have the leaders as the floating units providing key support, and then that team could go absolutely crazy. Like one rotation, you could have LR Beerus and Whis, and then whoever at the time the best option will be. Probably Physical Beerus when he gets his EZA, but any other unit that's going to link up well with him. And then your other rotation could be like God Goku and the LR Gods or something, right? So that team could be very, very good. The problem for Global is, you know, we don't have a 200% lead for them at all. And the one on JP is the Bond of Master and Disciple. So there are a few of the Realm of Gods characters on there. But if you want to include some of the more powerful Saiyans, like this new Dokkan Fest God Goku, you can't make like a full Realm of Gods team. Plus, obviously, the leader is the Kid Gohan. So he's not going to be the most optimal unit to run with some of these guys already anyway. But yeah, need to start. Actually start getting our support units floated off here. Right, so these guys actually have their extra stats. Although this isn't a showcase for them. Like I want to see them like go off in slot 1 here, but I mean, to be fair, Whis doesn't stack or anything, right? So we kind of have already seen basically what he can do, right? He's at about 320k defense after supering. He's got that dodge. 7.62 for the LR Beerus and Whis here. Pretty good. Now, obviously, if we don't crit, they are getting the 20% crit as well from Whis, which is very, very useful, as well as, you know, whatever crit chance they have in their hidden potential. And then Whis is pretty consistently around 2.5 million. So, obviously, damage-wise, like, he doesn't really do anything, which, you know, it is what it is, right? Like I say, that's why I didn't give him any crit. He's not on the team to do damage. He's on the team to provide support. And when we do these kind of showcases, obviously I'm using him on main rotation because we're trying to showcase what he does. But like I said, he doesn't stack or anything like that. So that actually works in his favor. That helps him to be a good support unit, right? Because support units, you want to run them off rotation. So if you have a unit that you know, ideally you want to run off rotation, but they need to attack a certain number of times or be hit a certain number of times in order to stack up to their full potential, then that doesn't work well with them being a slot 3 floating unit. So Whis definitely has the optimal, well, you know, I say optimal, obviously it could always be better, but he has the ideal base kit, I guess you would say, for a floating support unit, because he doesn't require any build up. It is based on the allies on the turn, so obviously you are going to have to we've got Cold Judgment active actually. How much defense do we have now? Yeah, see, Cold Judgment is a big link for Whis. That's why Supreme Cry of Time is a good support unit in general anyway, because now he's at 335k defense start of turn. That's with the support from Supreme Cry of Time as well. But that means he's going to be going up to like 400k defense, which, again, you know, if we're talking about the hardest red zone bosses in the game, it's not like the craziest defense or anything, but the dodge chance is going to be his major defensive tech. You're not on Bond of Master and Disciple, are you? I don't think so, no. So on a full Bond of Master and Disciple rotation, him having that 50% chance to dodge is obviously going to be huge. Supreme Cry of Time should be okay here, right? She's going to get well, if she gets supered, she gets one shot, but her defense post super attack is pretty good. We'll see, because she's getting the 40% support from Whis. She does massively raise defense on super. Hey, look at that, the dodge, let's go. Once LR, Beerus and Whis have that passive active where they get hit and then it's up for 7 turns, where they have a 50% chance to dodge, that's so good. And then, yeah, Whis just getting both the dodges there, perfect. We know Supreme Cry of Time can't get super attack now because he's already supered. Oh, double digits, let's go. Well, there you go. So Whis, obviously, her having Cold Judgment active with Whis helps her out as well. So definitely a very, very strong turn there. And in fact, this is a pretty good turn. We probably can finish this guy off right here. So let's do this. I'll leave this one untransformed so we can get all the links and everything. This actually should be a very strong turn. Even though we've got no support, this will be a very powerful turn. I don't know if it, as our intro, I think our intro animation might have run out. But we have no support actually, so I don't know how many times this God Goku has gone to super. What turn are we on? I think it was, did I say 8? So yeah, we will have lost our intro attack buff. That's why you always see that drop down. I got to remember, like, immediately in my head that that's why it goes down. Because every now you get to that turn, and you saw, like, the previous turn, God Goku did, like, an 11 million attack stat. And then suddenly on the next turn, he's doing a 7 million attack stat. And yeah, it's because you lose that 100% attack buff from the intro animation after the first few turns. But definitely still a super, super impressive unit. And hey, even though he's not on Bond of Master and Disciple, Whis being on the team as a 3rd slot float helps him out. Obviously, you can't run him on God Goku's leader skill, but I can't believe he survived with the tiniest sliver of HP. Absolutely outrageous. Alright, well this is going to be a good turn for these guys, right? Because we have a ton of their links active, well, a ton of support for them. They're at 500k defense star of turns, pretty good. And actually, is that might even be without their, is that with their full passive? I can't remember when they got hit. I guess we'll see when they get hit here if we get the defense up. Yeah, no, their passive is still active. I know they dodged the first attack, but mine do have some dodge, so you never can tell. But yeah, the passive being up, having that 50% chance to dodge is really good. These are the kind of units, this LR, Beerus and Whis, that really do benefit from Int Whis actually being runnable. So, what is he at for the Dokkan attack? 9.1 million. This is like the literal definition of the waste of a Dokkan attack as well. This guy has like a sneeze of HP left, and we go ahead and do a 9 million Dokkan attack. Crit? That crits for 13 million damage. Overkill, much, but pretty good. Alright, so so grab these for you. Unfortunately, there will always be the case that this Resurrection of F Blue Vegeta just gets so screwed over by requiring rainbow orbs for him to be at his best, and then he only changes orbs for a certain number of turns. So then you get to a turn like this where you can't get all the rainbow orbs, and then he's just going to look unimpressive. very disappointing for 2022 Dokkan Fest. If it wasn't, someone said this in the comment section of the video the other day where I did the God Goku on the Resurrection of F Blue's team video, and they very correct. Like, if Raditz hadn't come out, the Resurrection of F Blues would be the worst Dokkan Fest from 2022, which is very unfortunate because I think the unit is cool. I like the animations. They're not like the worst unit ever, but the design is just so wonky, and compared to other units that came out last year, apart from Raditz, like, they are just so low down on the list. And then Vegeta, he transforms, see, into a more defensive unit, but all his defense is raw stats. So you take 550k from a type neutral super attack. So, and then yeah, unfortunately, Supreme Kai time, I think she needs to double super to tank Nova. Plus, she had no links active on this rotation. But Whis, definitely looking very, very good. So, INT WHIS absolutely is runnable. You have to be careful, of course, when you come to the harder red zone bosses. Dodge is his defense utility, right? So, if you go up against Broly, he can't dodge. Be interesting to see how much damage he takes from normals. I don't think he would take double-digit damage unless you have Cold Judgment active. And then, obviously, if Broly supers, you can't dodge, so it's GG. And then the Metal Cooler Core... super int unit. Someone mentioned this when we were talking about Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. You need to get to, is it 550 or 600k defense to tank the Metal Cooler Core for double digits if you're a super int unit. And we've already seen, like, even if he double supered, Whis can't get to that level of defense. So you just wouldn't run him ideally, but against the Metal Cooler Core, he needs to dodge or he would get absolutely destroyed. But I think he's pretty good, definitely runnable. Hopefully we will get a good Realm of Gods 200% team. Getting EZAs for like Physical Beerus and eventually STR Whis would obviously be very good. I just really want us to be able to have a very powerful, like, non-Saiyan Realm of Gods team. I think that would be pretty cool. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.